A dog corners an opossum in a backyard. The opossum collapses, tongue out, eyes glassy, mouth open, body limp on its side. The dog sniffs it, loses interest, and walks away. 20 minutes later, the opossum gets up and wanders off like nothing happened. Most people assume they just watched a performance, a clever animal faking its own death to trick a predator, nature's best actor. That explanation feels right. It is also wrong. The opossum is not performing. It cannot choose to do this, and it cannot choose to stop. What looks like acting is closer to a car's airbag going off. Something in the body detects a crash, and it deploys the response automatically, whether the driver wants it or not. To understand why, you have to picture the opossum's actual problem. It is slow. It carries 50 teeth, more than almost any other land mammal, but its bite is surprisingly weak, only a fraction as strong as a house dog's. It cannot outrun a coyote, and it usually cannot fight one either. When escape and combat both fail, an animal has almost nothing left. Freezing can help with that. Many predators are wired to chase movement and lose interest in something that no longer moves, especially if that something also smells wrong. But freezing on purpose would require calm thinking in the middle of a life-or-death sprint. That's expensive. Brains cost energy, and decision-making takes time the opossum does not have. So, evolution appears to have skipped the decision-making step entirely. Here's the strange part. Researchers describe this state as tonic immobility, sometimes called thanatosis. It is not sleep, and it is not a decision to lie still. It behaves more like the autonomic nervous system taking over and overriding normal motor control. That system runs your heartbeat, your digestion, your breathing, the functions you never consciously manage. In a moment of extreme terror, it appears to seize the wheel from the part of the brain that normally handles movement and choice. The body doesn't ask permission, it just shuts the animal down. During this state, the opossum experiences something like a sudden drop in heart rate and blood pressure, similar to the kind of fainting spell a person might have at the sight of blood. Breathing slows, muscles go rigid, then limp. The gums pull back from the teeth, drool pools at the corner of the mouth, and the animal becomes unresponsive even to touch, which is part of why the display is so convincing. You can nudge it and nothing happens. And then there's the smell. Glands near the base of the tail can release a foul fluid that mimics the odor of decay or sickness. Combine a body that won't move with a smell that says rot, and you get something most predators do not want to touch. A fresh, struggling meal is appealing. A motionless, reeking one is not. Many predators prefer live prey and tend to avoid anything that already seems dead or diseased. This is where the obvious story falls apart completely. An actor can break character once the danger passes. An opossum cannot. The response cannot be trained, prompted, or turned on at will, because there is no at will involved. Once the state begins, the animal is along for the ride, whether the threat is still there or not. The whole episode can last anywhere from a few minutes to as long as 4 hours, and the opossum doesn't decide when it ends. That helplessness comes with real risk. The strategy assumes the danger will lose interest and leave. Most of the time, that assumption holds, but not always. A bird of prey unbothered by the display, or a dog that has learned to recognize the trick, can still finish what it started, and the opossum has no way to sense that failure and try something else. In a world full of roads instead of forest floors, that same shutdown can strand an animal directly in traffic after a near miss, with no way to get up before the next car arrives. A defense built for teeth and claws doesn't know what a bumper is. If you ever find an opossum like this in your own yard, the most useful thing you can do is the least dramatic one. Leave it alone and give it space. Picking it up doesn't speed anything up, and the animal cannot respond the way an alert one would. It also runs unusually cool, and that lower body temperature makes it naturally resistant, though not immune, to rabies, a reason to relax, not a reason to handle it. So, the next time someone jokes about playing possum, it's worth remembering what's actually happening under that phrase. There is no performance, no timing, no awareness of an audience at all. What looks like an animal choosing stillness is really an animal losing control of itself at the exact moment control stops being useful. A faster loop in its physiology takes over, one that skips conscious thought entirely, because thinking your way out of a predator's jaws takes longer than simply going dark. The opossum on the porch was never pretending. For those few minutes, some quieter part of its nervous system had already decided that survival meant disappearing, and the rest of the animal had no say in the matter.